Se dice que envejecer es perder, pero si en realidad envejecer fuera ganar tiempo, sabiduría, entendimiento y una nueva forma de ver la vida. Aquí, en este podcast titulado La edad es solo un número, rompemos los mitos acerca del envejecimiento y exploramos cómo cada etapa puede ser una oportunidad para reinventarnos por completo. Hablamos de propósito, de relaciones, de trabajo, de salud mental, de salud física y espiritual, pero sobre todo hablamos de cómo vivir con sentido y sin miedo el paso del tiempo. Mi nombre es Alberto Machuca, soy coach de vida y coach ejecutivo y te invito a que te unas a una serie de conversaciones reales, impactantes y que estoy seguro van a generar mucho valor en tu vida, con personas que están redefiniendo lo que significa envejecer. Porque en este espacio estamos convencidos que la edad no nos define, nos transforma. La edad es solo un número, es una producción de la Alianza Hispana, con el generoso patrocinio de Next 50 Initiative, a quienes agradecemos profundamente por creer en esta visión de construir una sociedad más justa, inclusiva y sin prejuicios de edad. Bienvenido a La edad es solo un número. Hola a todos, muy buenas tardes, gracias por acompañarnos en un nuevo episodio. Yo estoy muy emocionado de las personas que hoy nos están visitando. Vamos a tener esta conversación en inglés, pero quería dar este saludo en español a todas las personas que se conectan y que nos van a estar siguiendo. Gracias por sus preguntas, comentarios y todo lo que ustedes puedan hacer por este espacio. Sin duda compartir este video, seguirnos en las redes sociales. Y vamos a tener un poco de Spanglish también. So, hi everyone and welcome to Nothing to Do with Age. This is a video podcast. Honestly, I am so excited. Thank you so much for being here with us in the Alianza Hispana. We are going to talk about aging, strength, and breaking stereotypes. And today I'm honored to sit down with someone who is doing an amazing work here in Boston. So we have two amazing women, Andrea Burns from Age and Dementia Work. Actually, we're going to talk about you, about yourself, but Andrea, and also we have Emily Shea, or she? Shea. Perfect. So, do you want to share a little bit about you and your work, please, to our audience?
Sure.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, español.
My name is Andrea Burns. I am with the city's Age Strong Commission, and I direct the Age and Dementia Friendly Initiative for the Age Strong Commission. I have been doing that since the beginning, since about 2015.
Okay.
And it's an incredibly rewarding initiative. And it has to do with about 8 different areas of urban life, and we've sort of touched on many different areas, important areas for older adults, mainly trying to get at policies, programs, procedures that can improve the quality of life for older residents here in the city of Boston. Nice. And the sort of civic engagement and area is an area that we've kind of done a lot of work around, especially trying to help older folks with work and with employment. And the issue of ageism has come up quite a bit in people saying that they feel that that's an obstacle to them retaining and obtaining work. And that is of great concern to us, and the Commission already does a lot around, we have a volunteer program that is a tremendous program that has been in effect, I believe, since the beginning of the Commission, where people are able to, volunteer and to get a small stipend for work in the community. And so that has been an ongoing kind of project for us for many, many years. And then the kinds of things that we've done in our initiative is to look at trying to build awareness within city departments around ageism, trying to encourage them to place property tax work off folks, volunteers, for them to hire older workers, trying to get at some of the things that are the barriers that we feel that would actually increase and reduce ageism and increase participation for older adults.
Nice. It's a lot of
That's
work.
just an example.
No, thank you, thank you. We're going to talk deeper in 1 minute, but we have also Emily.
Yes, thank you. Hi, I'm Emily Shea. I'm the Age Strong Commissioner for the City of Boston.
Okay.
So I lead a wonderful team of employees at the city who really are focused on how we can support older adults. And I also have the wonderful pleasure of working with many of our older residents as well, right? Creating a city that we all can live and age in is, I think, something that all of us should be a part of. So we have a lot of our older residents who work with us, like Andrea said, either as volunteers or just as kind of Age Strong ambassadors or leaders out there in the community. And so I love that you're thinking about and talking about ageism and breaking down barriers and stereotypes, because I think we have the opportunity to see every day in our work the kind of difference older people are making in the community. And so I'm happy to be a part of this conversation.
Thank you, thank you. I am a father of a 17 years old teenager, and something that I love of the city is the city offers a lot of opportunities for teenagers. Right now, he's working in 2 different places thanks to the plans and the goals that the city has. But talking about older adults, it's like we can consider young people, but sometimes we forgot our older adults. So the work that you are doing is amazingly important, and we want to create awareness inside of the Latino community that maybe sometimes we don't know about all these plans and work that you are doing. So let's jump into this powerful conversation in a more deeper way. So I want to ask you about this title, Age Strong. I think this is a powerful shift from the old title that you had. Can you explain a little bit this change and what we need to know about it?
Sure. So we did a lot of work to change our title, right? We used to be called the Commission on Affairs of the Elderly.
Okay.
And we had so many of our older residents say to us, I don't feel like that's me. Like elderly, I don't like the word elderly. I feel like that's my mom, that's my grandparents, but it's not who I am. So we did a lot of work to say to our older residents, we gave them a whole list of words, and we said, you tell us which of these words, in your mind, which of these words describe yourself? And we did a whole survey, and they said to us strong, and they said to us experienced.
Okay.
We also looked at the Frameworks Institute, which did a study on language and how we can break down some of the ageist stereotypes in the United States. So we looked at some of the research that they did and recommendations they had for language, and we worked with a professor at Emerson College who had some expertise in branding, and we put all of that together and came up with Age Strong, right? Strong because our residents said that described them. Also because every time you say the word age, you have to pair it with a positive word, strong. And so in that way, we're changing the narrative, which I think is a little bit about what we're talking about today, right? Every time you say our word, our name now, you are saying something positive about aging. And I think the best thing about it is we had our previous mayor, Mayor Walsh, announced it in the State of the City. And after the announcement in 2019, January of 2019, I was walking through the aisle and I passed a group of older residents and I heard one of them say, Age Strong, that's me, right? So really
They feel
saying
identified with
that is a name that I like. And now, Andrea, whenever we're in the community, right, people come to us and they say, oh, Age Strong, or I'm part of Age Strong, or I'm an Age Strong person. And that never happened to us with our previous name.
Yeah.
So.
And talking about ageism, because I think words are pretty powerful, no? With our communication, we can create realities and different words. So ageism is a word that maybe many people don't talk about much. So Andrea, can you define for you what is ageism and why it's so important to talk about this issue?
Yes, well, ageism is discrimination based on age.
Okay.
And it's one of the things that we say about it is that it's often, it's one of the hardest to actually get at because it is very pernicious. It's very subtle in a lot of ways, but it is one of the more pervasive isms and one that is almost the hardest to talk about and the hardest to tackle because people aren't necessarily overt about ageism. And it is very destructive. It costs society billions of dollars, according to the World Health Organization. It leads to much worse outcomes in terms of health, of physical health, emotional health. So it's very costly. It doesn't just affect older people. It also can affect younger people as well. But it's basically discrimination based on age.
For example, if we have this younger generation that maybe they are watching this video, how ageism can affect them?
Yeah, so in our conversations on aging and ageism that we started as a result of our rebranding campaign, once we became the Age Strong Commission, that was part of this campaign, we would host these conversations in the community. And we invited younger people to also participate. And they expressed their own frustrations about being judged based on their age.
Okay.
So, for example, we had someone who was studying at Boston University, and she came and participated with us, and she was actually studying to be a doctor.
Okay.
And when they came in to see her, when patients would come in to see her, they'd say, well, when is the real doctor coming in, or when is the expert coming in, because you clearly couldn't possibly know what you're talking about, and they wanted somebody else to come. And that made her feel, she kind of laughed about it, but she expressed that. So it is anything that it is. So when we think about stereotypes, it's making snap judgments based on the way somebody looks, whether that's you're a woman, whether you're a man, whether you are an older person, whether you're a younger person, whether you are Hispanic, whether you are black, whether you are, so it's making snap judgments based on the way someone looks. And as much as that is somewhat natural for the human brain to do, there are reasons why people make snap judgments that have to do with survival in many ways. Oftentimes those first impressions are wrong.
Yeah.
And they have the result of making people feel demeaned or feel less than, and they feel they're already starting from a deficit in the interaction. So when we do our training, we always try to do activities that get people to sort of stop and think before an interaction and maintain an open mind as much as possible, whoever that is that you're speaking with. And that's honestly it's very simple, but one of the best things that you can do.
Yeah, and I really believe that community is pretty important. And for the Latino community, family, relationship are so important. But I can see a trend where more older adults are living alone, and maybe they don't have the opportunity to spend more time with other friends. And something that I love watching Boston and many organizations is we want to listen people. So in order to take this decision to change the narrative, the name, so how many people participate in this decision about when you decide, obviously experts participated, but how many people from the city?
Sure. So what I can say is that when we do a regular needs assessment, so the needs assessment that came before our name change, we had about 4,000 people participating in that over the age of 50.
Okay.
We also, when we did the survey where we were asking people which of these words describe yourself, we had about 1,000 people contributing their voices to that. So I think one of the things that we try to do all the time, because I think that's where you do your best work, right, is we try to have a regular, I guess, conversation with the community. We try to make sure that we're listening to what people are saying, that we're going out and that we're hearing from different groups. We actually just we just finished another needs assessment, and we're putting together our kind of action plan steps from that. But we just did about 25 listening sessions, maybe 30, a bunch of focus groups, and another survey. So I guess I would just say that anytime you are doing work, the work is going to have the most impact on people if you're being responsive to what people need, and you can only do that by listening to them.
Yeah, instead of thinking, oh, maybe you need something, I'm going to take this decision because I think. No, you took the work to listen and then take the decision. And I think it's pretty important. Do you want to say?
I was just going to say the results are better that way, right?
Yes,
And you're not
exactly.
pretending that you know what people need.
Exactly.
You're listening to what they need.
Yeah. One of the things that I do as a job is I am a life coach. So when I sit down with another person and listen their needs, the real work starts there. No, when I take the time to understand what is the real need behind the problem, whatever. So thank you for taking the time for doing this. I would like to talk about a little bit about mental and emotional wellness. So you also support mindfulness programs and mental health efforts for older adults, especially after COVID. Why do you think this is so important in this conversation, in this work?
Sure. Being healthy in all sorts of ways, right, means that people can not only live long, but live well, right? It's not just about lifespan, but now you're hearing people talk about like health span, right? It's not just how long you live, but how long can you actually live well? And so we were very lucky. We had an investment from Mayor Wu in our to start a mental and behavioral health initiative. Okay. So very excited about that. We built out, not only do we have a small internal team that's helping to support our staff and going out into the community to do workshops with older adults. We also were able to give funding, a bunch of grants to the community to try to build supports for mental health and wellness for older adults in the community. And we were able to build out the things that we know support mental wellness. So the mindfulness work, the social engagement, right? The funding to reduce isolation and really create opportunities for people to come together. So I think we don't think of it as just one thing that's going to improve health for somebody. We really try to think broadly about it, right? It's having
more holistic
activities for people to do. It's having volunteer and work opportunities. It's making sure that they have what they need for good health care and food and kind of all the variables that make for good health. But it's also having something to do during the day, and the mindfulness and the mental health and wellness supports.
No, perfect. Yeah, for me it's very important this part because many people think with just good food or if I walk a little bit every day, but it's more things in order to have a wellness or a quality of life. So, Andrea, I have a question for you. I would love to talk about work policy and changing systems. So, talking about ageism at work, we know that it's real, but could you give us some examples of how people every day maybe suffer this kind of ageism in their workplace?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many examples. It becomes very overwhelming. I think that people feel that when they're not, so a lot of people will come to us saying, I've applied for, so many jobs, and I don't even get any, any response whatsoever. Many people, they don't know for sure, but they think it's because of the age that people think they are. So whatever is on their resume.
Yeah.
And so there's the financial security issue, which is huge. Massachusetts is #1 for economic insecurity among older adults, mainly driven by the high cost of housing, but medication, et cetera. So in our state, especially being an expensive state, many people still want and need to work. So there's a sense of purpose. That's one thing, incredibly important. Some people want to work because of that. A lot of people need to work. There's a lot of reasons why they can't. Some people left the workforce perhaps to take care of parents or grandchildren.
Yeah.
And then when they try to get back, it's very, very hard to get back. And how exactly that happens is hard to know, because it is illegal to discriminate based on age, but I think there's a perception among employers that it is not an advantage to hire older workers, but the data proves otherwise.
Yeah.
The data shows that a diverse workplace is actually a much more profitable workplace, a much more dynamic workplace, and a much more productive workplace.
You can take advantage of the wisdom and experience.
Yes, and especially an age-diverse workplace is very. It has very positive implications for that company, for that organization. So I think really getting these things out there in the mainstream, in media. Telling those stories, the kinds of things that you want to highlight with the different people that you're having as guests, telling their stories, humanizing people. I really think that's one of the answers, is to get, to really have, and I think media is really paying attention to these issues because of the growing population. It's impossible to ignore. But I think that just the benefit to society of engaging older adults for as long as possible, and perhaps changing this idea that everyone is going to retire at a certain age. People really are living longer. Maybe not always what the commissioner is saying about living with health, but people are living longer and can contribute longer than perhaps we traditionally thought of as an age. This is the retirement age, and this is, it's actually, people have a lot more capacity than perhaps they used to, or that we give credit for. So I think really telling these stories, looking at our policies, looking at things like mandatory retirement ages and questioning all of those, really making a concerted effort to hire older workers because of all the advantages to society, to your own company. There's a lot here, and there's a lot of empty jobs. There's a lot of empty positions that if you can be flexible, perhaps, and think about doing maybe part-time, or offering that part-time, or changing your job description, that could be attractive to an older worker and could be perfect for an older worker. So I think we are on the verge of or it's happening already, but a real need with a real opportunity. And so I think if people seize on this, then I think there's a lot of benefit to us, and obviously a lot of benefit to the older adult, which is the most important thing, because people really do need that sense of purpose. And I think it's very sad and very frustrating when you hear from people that they want to work and can't. It's very, very hard.
Of course. How is the Age Strong Commission helping older adults stay active in the workforce and fight bias from employers?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is an area that we would like to dig into deeper. One of the things that we have been doing that I think we were chatting about a little bit before is our age and dementia-friendly business training. So we've trained almost 100 businesses in Boston who've been kind of certified as age and dementia-friendly employers. So we do a whole training with them around communication techniques, working with older people, the benefit to employing older people. It's a very broad training. And then the businesses also have an opportunity to choose from this checklist of things that they could do both for people they're employing, but also people that they're serving to make their business more attractive to older people. So that's one thing, but I think that this is an area that I see us doing even more in as we work to create the next steps of our action plan. This action plan, our kind of age-friendly action plan, is really about how we make sure that older people can live and age well in the city. So it's very broad. There's a lot of continuing work to do.
Nice. This program, for example, if I have a business, I can raise my hand and say, I want to participate, or how businesses can participate in this training.
So, any business that's in the city of Boston can become age and dementia friendly certified, and it's very easy to do. We do a walkthrough with our team. We have a team of 3 people in our unit, and we go through the business and we actually point out things. We don't want this to make this onerous, because a lot of times we've had small businesses that are not in a position to perhaps to overhaul their entire business. But we say, well, you don't have seating, but could you put some chairs in the store, in the front of the store? And they do. So easy things that make them more age friendly. So we do a physical walkthrough of their space, highlighting the things that they're already doing that are very helpful, and then suggesting things that they could do that would make it more age-friendly.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty important having other eyes to help us to see something that maybe is going to help us in our own business and also help us to connect with the rest of the community. So I would like to talk about a little bit about words. No? For example, we were discussing about the words matter. So you've talked a lot about how language matter in all your work. Why does switching from senior or to older adults, or even just people, what do you think that those changes make a lot of difference? I was talking about, for example, in the families or inside of business. Can you explain a little bit all this community, why it's so important to change our words and how we communicate with the older adults?
So I think you were talking about like using older adult or older people. I mean, I think there has been a bunch of research done. I mentioned the Frameworks Institute before. There's been a bunch of research done on kind of the words of aging and the pictures and the stereotypes that those words kind of build in people's minds. And so older adult or older people are kind of recommended language based on some of that research. What I would say is that language probably changes based on culture and community, but words are important. And you mentioned before when we were talking the campaign that we did, the ageism campaign that we did, and this is where we put a stereotype like cranky up on top, and then we had a picture of somebody under it that we knew. So for cranky, it was one of our volunteers, Harry, and we told Harry's story. And Harry is a senior companion who is anything but cranky, right? He has this fabulous laugh. He very joyful all the time, and so he's kind of the opposite of cranky. So sometimes I think. We need to, that campaign really called out that stereotype, and it was meant to have people think, I need to think about words, I need to think about the stereotypes I have in my mind. And so I guess I would say that is why words are so important, right? We need to think about the words that we use, and we need to try to change how people view older people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you think of Age Strong, who doesn't want to be part of that group? It's
more inspiring.
Yes, and so you're not thinking, I don't want to be part of that group. You're kind of thinking, I'd like to be part of that group. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Whereas I think elderly commission or elderly, There's elders, which of course has a very long respected tradition, elders, but elderly, it's not attractive. It feels like and it's also categorizing people into a other in a way. And so I think that that's why it matters so much. And what anecdotally, from my experience, is when we changed our name, all of a sudden I thought that even other city departments gave us a little bit more respect too. It's a name that commands respect. And I think that if there's anything that we're trying to get across in at least our work with ageism, it is about respect. And respect means to look at, in Latin, right? To look at and to really consider and to see, but really see, not just on the surface, but to, and so I think that it's very, it was transformational for our department.
Yeah.
And I remember people even in other departments would say, well, the Age Strong community, and we were thinking, we never expected it to actually be, that people would be referring to this demographic as the Age Strong community. We thought it was just the name. But because it was so powerful, it started to kind of take on this other meaning, which was
the culture
which was actually the people. They were referring to the people as Age Strong.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. So because it was so powerful and positive, positive things attract more positive things. And so I think that that's why the words are so important. And the words you tell yourself are very important.
Yeah.
And the aging, we oftentimes in our own little unit, we are checking each other all the time. David and I are both older. Like I'm 56 and David is probably 62. And when we hear ourselves saying self-deprecating things that everybody says, it's not unusual. I'm having a senior moment or a thing, this and that. It's very, very common for all of us to say these things, denigrating age. And we call each other on it. And so even what you say to yourself is important.
Yeah, and you made me to remember one day I met this amazing woman. She's almost 90. She was sharing with me that in her family, there are some members of the family that they were saying to her, no, you don't need to use that kind of clothes because this is for younger people. It's like, no, I like this dress. I like these pants. Why not? Because you are 90, almost 90. It's like, well, I don't understand my family. So this is the reason that I was asking about these stereotypes and how important it is to change our words with the human beings that they are around us. So I would love to close this conversation with one testimony that you maybe have that you feel grateful about all the work that you are doing. One story that is inspiring for you in a personal way. Do you have any story or testimony?
I can start, but I'm sure you have many. Well, one of the things, there's so many things. We had to, once in a while, we have to go to our senior centers, the folks that don't normally go when, say, someone's on vacation, something like that. We'll go and we'll fill in, which is wonderful because you get to see how they work, and it's amazing, all these incredible people who show up there.
Yeah.
And you get to hear things that people say. I highly recommend it. And you hear things like, wow, if it wasn't for this senior center, I'd be inside my apartment staring at the TV. And that's not just one time, over and over and over again. When our senior center in East Boston opened, I'd hear these people, there's like a little separate seating area, and I heard that verbatim. Thank God for the senior center. And people in our listening sessions saying, I have relatives, I have family that want me to move wherever, but I can't because there's too much for us here to do. There's too much here in Boston that I wouldn't have in other places. We heard this over and over again.
Yeah.
I remember thinking of Julia Walker saying, everybody wants me to move, and I can't. I'm like involved in all of these activities, and there's so much that the city does for us that I can do here that I can't do anywhere else. So those are very, very wonderful things to hear, especially when you hear, the challenges as well. It's very good to hear these other things that we know that are also true at the same time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Andrea.
Yeah, I love that you use that example, Andrea, because it's really about like the power of connection, right? That having a space, having a place to go, and we've seen that over and over again as we try to build out programming across the city, that having a place to go during the day, a place to connect with people just means the world to older people. I would also say that we've talked a little bit about our volunteers. We have over 350 people over the age of 55 working with us, some in the AmeriCorps Seniors programs, some working off property taxes. We have a property tax work-off program in Boston, and some just leaders, community leaders who work with us, trying to coordinate and engage other older adults in the community. And what I would say is that from that is that people have so much to give, so many skills, so much knowledge, so much energy, and that our older residents really do help to build Boston and make Boston what it is. And so the fact that, you know, we're having this conversation today and that we can kind of keep our older residents in our minds and in our thoughts and respect them as a very important part of our community, I think that means the world. It's one of the reasons I love my job. I mean, I get to work with wonderful staff members, but I also get to work with all of these amazing older adults that are just making Boston what it is, and the reason we all want to be here.
Emily, Andrea, thank you so much for your time, not just for taking the time to be here, but also for all your work, because I can see it's pretty obvious your passion, that you love what you are doing. And for me, it's very important to have these kind of examples to let all the people that are watching this video or listening to this podcast to know about this amazing work. Y gracias a todos los que nos acompañaron hoy, de verdad, esta conversación la vamos a traducir, va a haber subtítulos en español, we're going to put subtitles in Spanish en este video, así que por favor compartan, si consideran que conocen a alguien, algún negocio o alguna persona o familiar que necesite escuchar esta conversación, compartan este video, síganos en las redes sociales y sigamos cambiando los estereotipos que pueden motivar, ayudar y crear una mejor comunidad aquí en Boston y alrededor del mundo que escuchen este video. Gracias por acompañarnos. Thank you so much again. See you later. Bye bye. Gracias.